What can I say? Friday nights are fun, aren't they?
That's great.
It's great. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to my channel. It's Friday. It's the weekend. It's the 21st of February, and it's 4 o'clock on the Pacific Coast. I'm Kip Davis. I'm a biblical scholar and a specialist in early Judaism and the Dead Sea Scrolls. I am joined, as always, by my lovely and talented producer, Vishanti. And tonight, because it's Friday, you guys, I got my boy here, Dr. Joshua Bowen.
Some rando.
some rando. What do you know? I mean, you've not written 2 books about biblical slavery, Dr. Josh?
Well, I mean, look,
we're
gonna find out that certain Hebrew words just mean give somebody a big old bear hug, you know? Really love one of them.
Yeah.
That's what it means.
Isn't that the truth? Yes. Bear hugs for everyone tonight. It's just checking out. I don't know if Joel's still here, but he stopped by. He did a video response to my discussion with the second part of a video response to my discussion with who are those guys? Dan McClellan and Dr. Heath Durrell on child sacrifice.
I heard you were a pretty amazing scholar.
Listen. I have it on record. I heard it with my own 2 ears. Now I haven't gone back and double checked, and maybe I misheard, but I'm quite certain I heard Michael Jones of Inspiring Philosophy refer to me in the collective, in the group with Dr. Durrell and Dr. McClellan as 3 brilliant scholars. We have a special unexpected guest.
Sorry,
he's gonna go color. That's awesome.
Color.
No, it's good. It's all good, man. It's good to see you, Lady Wasser. Thanks for coming and hanging out. It's been a little while. Good to see you, Triceratops, and Captain Dabpool is in the house tonight. You know, he was on what's his name? Jacob Berman's channel the other night. So that was cool. Cuneiform guy is here. Dr. Cheryl Lyle is here. It's nice to see Misinterpretations is here. Josh, are you familiar with Misinterpretations?
I just subscribed, like yesterday.
Excellent. There's some fantastic content over at Misinterpretations channel. Thank you so much for joining us, and shalom, Lexlata. Awesome. So we've got
actually what I think that says, Kip, is tikva. I'm not sure.
It could be tikva, or it could be, I don't know, there's maybe
it's not family, it's clan. Mishkapet.
Was it Mishkapet?
It just warms my heart every time I see it.
The cockles of your heart, right?
When you say it with like your full chest, you know, like Mishkapet.
Mishkapet. I heard, Josh, that you actually had a conversation with Dr. David Falk about this very issue in a call-in show a couple of weeks ago, didn't you? I'm pretty sure.
Yes, I did. It lasted approximately 9 hours.
Really? It was
9 hours.
I'm just gonna be here all night, guys. This is all we're doing tonight. This is it. We're just
sitting here poisoning the well, so that's all we're doing.
I sadly don't have one for that.
The show today is no exception to some of the great work that I've done in the past.
Oh,
they're all gold.
They are all gold. They really are. And we're cooking. We're gonna cook. So yeah, that's what's happening. Sorry, I have to organize myself here. Yes, thank you for coming and joining us this evening, everyone. We're going to hang out. We're just gonna have some fun. If you have questions, please feel free to just post those in the chat. Super chat for priority. But we're gonna look at a video featuring Dr. Frank Turek, I believe is what he calls himself. And
I shouldn't be so hard on the demon.
come
I
on,
shouldn't,
dude.
like, internally. But it's so hard when I think when arrogant people bring it out, like it's, you know, like, I don't know,
What
on
it
par.
what is it, Josh? What is
What
the
is it?
demon?
I mean,
You tell me
it's a doctorate. It's a doctorate of ministry. Like, I know that a couple of my professors, at least one, I thought two, had two demons. And I remember when I was thinking about doing my doctoral work, you know, it was like, well, I remember several professors saying to me that the demon is not a terminal degree. It's not considered a terminal degree. And I mean, again, not that matters. You know, people should do what they want to do. But I think the issue is when you present yourself in such a way that you don't clarify that you don't have a particular kind of degree, or you present yourself as an academic and a research scholar, that sort of thing. Anyway, I shouldn't have these types of thoughts, but I do. So
how very
everyone.
elitist of you, Dr. Bowen. It's not a demon, by the way, is it? I don't think
it's not. Not that there's anything wrong with the demon.
No, listen. So
I don't like arrogant people.
Let's be clear on what this is. It's not a terminal degree. As far as I'm aware, in most programs, you don't actually have to write. Like it's not as you said, it's not a research. It's not a dissertation based degree. It's not a terminal degree. I always understood the demon as the degree for pastors to go and get because they were too busy pastoring churches. So here's a nice program that you can very often do part-time while pastoring your flock, and afterwards you can call yourself doctor. And you know, the church televangelist kind of doctor. But I don't think and I'm with you. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, as long as everyone's clear on what this is, right? But I get the impression that this is not what Frank Turek is doing. Is, in fact, for the longest time, it took until we did those streams recently with Stephen Woodford at Rationality Rules before I learned that that Frank Turek actually has a DMin and not a I thought it was a PhD in apologetics at first, which I would set maybe just a notch higher than that, but at least it's a.
So look, you know, I how reputable this is, I don't know, but here I'm looking at Doctor of Ministry on Wikipedia, and it says, excuse me, as a terminal professional doctorate, the Doctor of Ministry is primarily concerned with, quote, the acquisition of knowledge and research skills to further advance or enhance professional practice, and is therefore distinct from the Doctor of Philosophy in its aim. So, it sounds like here they are calling it a terminal degree. So, I'm happy to be corrected on that. So, so just so all you apologists see how it works in action, see how we said something and then it was wrong. And then we just said, "Oh, I was wrong." See how that worked? It like there's no lightning that comes down.
It's true.
Right?
There's none. You can do it.
Yeah, you can do it.
And maybe with that we'll get into the video here. But I do want to give a shout out to Rebecca Raven, who has joined my channel, has become a member. Welcome, Rebecca. And she says, we always figured that Demon was like a PhD in psychology. Not that there's anything wrong with that. So there we go. And Josh has a cat. There we go. I'm actually trying to hide these, but they just they keep moving on me. So all right. Vish, do you want to pull up the video and we can start watching this? So we're gonna
so
do
distracted by this cat. I'm like,
I know, right?
kitty. The chat wants to know what the kitty's name is.
Outcast? No, this is Barley.
Do you have a couple?
Yeah, we have two. Much to my chagrin.
Josh, sorry.
You know why they're rubbing up against you, right, Josh?
It's because Dr. Josh is becoming a Bond villain.
I don't know why. Why are they doing
They
that?
were marking you for service in the afterlife.
Oh, well. All right.
There we go.
That's something.
Wow. Yeah, so
cute.
we're gonna watch, but we're gonna start first with okay, stop that, Bish. Just stop it.
Kitty.
So I'm glad my dog is not watching. Otherwise he'd be here. Like right here.
But we are not about me.
So sorry. I am getting distracted by you guys getting distracted by the cat now. Thank you. So we're gonna get to Frank Turek in a minute, but I thought it was worthwhile for Josh and I to take a look at a short clip. Maya wants to know how she can subscribe to the cat. So, did you? Oh, see, this is what happens.
We both clicked it at the same time.
Clicked at the same time. Yeah. So, but I thought it was important with the two of us here, Josh and I, who like to read Hebrew with people together, and teach Hebrew together, which is something that we're starting to do here.
Yeah, you're going to be doing that soon, aren't you?
I'm going to be doing that soon. March 4th, everyone. You ever wanted to learn, now's your chance. So, and we could talk about that later. But I thought maybe it was important for us to take a look at the Hebrew sins of one young Wesley Huff, budding Christian apologist, and PhD student at the University of Toronto. You might have noticed this, and almost certainly because I sent it to you. Actually, no, I think you sent the video to me, but I watched it before you did.
Yes, that's how it works.
So that's how it works. But and I did, chat, manage to make Josh almost apoplectic when reviewing this particular part. So I just really figured, I talked a little bit about this in my live stream last week with
it wasn't him, Kip. Just look, let's just get that out there and don't poison. This was not him. It was his magic helper, right?
No, who was reading modern Hebrew, y'all. Modern Hebrew. All right. So okay, do you want to play this, Bish?
It's really difficult, Wes. I just want to say this, to actually nail down what folks mean by a word in the Hebrew text. Okay.
Right.
And some of people are like, wait, what? Now, the reason for this, is in Hebrew, I can actually say I love you in one word. I can say ahavtika, I love you. I can just do that.
All right, pause it there, Vish.
What is this?
Yeah.
Maze.
Yeah, forgive me, and Kip, I just may not have heard it correctly, but I thought he said ahav tika. I thought he put the emphasis on the ultimate.
Oh, I wasn't listening this time.
Mhm.
So yes, you're right. I mean, if that you were paying attention, weren't you?
I wasn't, but
Oh shoot. There.
but I thought I heard it.
Okay. So
Okay, Josh, I know that you're a very good Hebrew teacher, so I'm just going to check with you just to make sure I'm not losing it here. I don't see ahava or any such related word on screen.
Maybe what they were doing. Let's be uber charitable. Maybe what they were doing is they were trying to show how error can creep into the text. So maybe if you had like maybe you had a scribal school where they were reading it out loud and they were copying it down based on what they heard. Maybe that's what they're trying to very subtly put out there for us and demonstrate.
Okay.
Because I
right.
think
It's very
I
charitable.
think this is a and I should point out, Vish, maybe let everyone know how you know that Dr. Bowen is a good Hebrew teacher.
Oh, I happen to be in the Hebrew cohort, the class that he's been teaching since November, October?
The Johnson administration, I think.
Something like that.
But
yeah, this is Hatikva. That's like the hope. That's also the name of the Israeli national anthem,
Look at
I
this.
think, but also that's not Ahavti.
Look at this, guys. Vishanti, budding first-year Hebrew student in Dr. Bowen's class, sees what's going on, understands this. I think this is what I think this is what do they call that? An error? Is that an error of dictation?
Yeah, I mean, maybe
When
that's what they're doing. It's just dictation.
I think
error.
so.
Okay. All right.
Where because you guys all heard. Hold on before you press play, Vish. You guys all heard what Dr. John Mead, who is the gentleman speaking with Wes Huff, you heard what he said, right? He said, Ohavtika, the word that you see on the screen. And Ohavtika means I love you. What you see on the screen is Hatikva. So I think maybe if and I don't know if Wes is making his own slides for his channel or if he's farmed some of this work out to his that's Ahavti, and then we've got a second masculine singular suffix on the end, the ka, Ahavtika. Yeah.
Here's what I think. This is my hypothesis.
Mm-hmm.
There is, and it always comes back to Eminem, right? With me, Eminem and Seinfeld,
of course.
There is a song,
Mystery Science Theater,
and Mystery Science Theater. That's right. Where Eminem says, "I'm going to exorcise those demons. Those motherfuckers are doing jumping jacks now." And I remember for the longest time thinking to myself, how could somebody not check him on that? Right? I mean, he must know that exercise and exorcise are different. And I like told several people about this. Like, why in the world wouldn't somebody check him? But somebody looked at me and said, yeah, you know that he definitely knows that, right? Like, that's the whole point of what he's saying. So that's where I'm going to go with this.
Okay. So
I'm going to go.
But what is the message behind this intentional
anybody can fuck this up.
even a biblical studies PhD student nearing the end of his program can fuck this up. All right. So hit play, Vish, because I think Wes might actually have an explanation for what happened here. Let's see.
It's very David-esque.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh,
Yes,
he's
I know,
continuing.
I know.
Listen.
So when you're
because
thinking this
it
through, you're
gets
going,
worse.
wait.
You thought it was bad, guys.
3 words in English.
It gets
Okay,
worse.
but 1 word in Hebrew.
3 words. Here we go. Keep going. Oh, okay. All right. Here. Now pause it. Sorry. Can you? It's I tried to. There we go. Very nice. So note the correction here. Okay. This was posted in the comments because guess what? There's a few people in the world who can read Hebrew and who watch videos on YouTube, and some people noticed. I'm just gonna say some people noticed. So Wes did the right thing, and
Did
he
he?
corrected him.
Did he?
Well, Josh, he corrected himself around 21:45. Dr. Mead says, "I love you" can be written as a single word in Hebrew. For the visual, the modern Hebrew version of the phrase more accurately meaning the hope instead of the correct ancient Hebrew one, ahavtika, was accidentally used.
But didn't
Does he know
is
any
this,
modern Hebrew speakers?
I
but
don't
is this
know
an
the answer to
edited
this
form of this? Because wasn't the
It was
first one
different.
that came
Yeah,
out
you know
that
what?
said I
think
had
you're
a
right. Yeah.
I had a somebody helping me edit
Oh my
who
God.
knew
Oh my
enough
God.
Hebrew
Simone.
to hear how it sounded and to write it but still get it wrong. Like this sounds shady. It's just what is
So,
it that my son says? It sounds sus.
Sus.
Sounds sus.
Simone is in the chat, guys. Simone, if you can, do me a favor because you're here and because you're amazing. Guys, Simone is amazing. It needs to be pointed out. But can you go look back on our discussion in Discord about this? And maybe I think it's possible that one of us screen capped his comment when it was posted. So if you could go back and check and see if if it looks like this, because I think Josh is right. I think this is different now. But in any event, I don't know. You're right. I don't know that this helps.
Kip,
So yeah.
we have, as is traditional, people
Mhm.
who come over from Dapper Dinosaur's audience frequently will use their screen name to reference an inside joke from the channel.
They do that.
And we have Flavius Josephus, the first century
First
Jewish historian.
Good to see you, Flavius. I am a huge fan of your bestseller, The Antiquity of the Jews.
Antiquity of the Jews, that's right.
It's one of my favorite books about how old all those Jewish
All the Jews
people
are. Josh, for those of you that don't know,
You gotta
on
watch
Saturdays
tomorrow.
we've been reviewing Bodie Hodge's book about the origin of languages in the Tower of Babel. Bodie
And it
Hodge is
all
the
falls into
son-in-law of
Yes,
Ken
it does.
Ham from AIG, and as you would expect, it is horrifically under-researched and poorly done in
some of it
every
is
possible
over
aspect.
Some of it is over-researched, Vish. Let's be clear.
But yeah, every time he mentions Josephus,
unnecessary chapters.
every time, first century Jewish historian Josephus, or Josephus the early historian, like every single time, multiple times within the same chapter. No one has more disregard for their audience than young Earth creationists. So
it's true. It's true. Yes. So well, let's continue because it does actually get worse than the original error, than this fairly bad attempt to cover for the original error.
Okay.
Let's find out, shall we, how much worse it gets.
Now, even the Hebrew, though, is a little bit tricky because you've got the verb form, ahavti, I love, and then you've got the 2ms pronominal suffix.
You see it there? I
okay,
put
being
it there
added
properly.
to this.
That's
Yeah, we should make
word.
sure that we're clear about
And
that.
the
That's you.
Masoretes, it's
that
clear
was
to
me,
will
guys.
count that as one word. But Accordance software does not. For those who know, Accordance is this very famous, very good
It
Bible
is very good.
software, but it reckons words differently. It would actually divide that up into at least 2 words, maybe even 3.
No,
Pause it.
no,
All right.
now this is
This is me.
sort of,
Okay,
but
this is me. All right.
okay.
I did
That's
this,
you.
but back it up. Let's okay, so this is Wes Huff's channel.
What can I just ask? What would be the third word?
Right? I guess
I mean, unless he's saying
I is
as the
probably
form.
yeah. Maybe that's it.
I don't
Maybe
know
that's
this.
the
because I was thinking that too, right? Like usually you think of these things. Here we go. Simone went and looked. The correction used to say I accidentally typed the
Oh.
modern Hebrew version of the phrase with nothing about the hope or anything like that. Note the I there.
oh, so
Interesting.
The modern
he
Hebrew version of the
really
phrase. Oh, Wesley.
Oh, Wesley. Oh,
oh,
dear.
Wesley.
My,
So-
my.
Uh-huh.
Just see, look, people. I said that I didn't think that a demon was a terminal degree. I went and checked myself. The information that I found, whether it's reliable or not, but whatever, I'm assuming that it is for the moment. And I went, oh, well, shit. I was wrong. Wes, let's try it together. Ready? I was
wrong.
I was wrong.
I was
Wes.
wrong.
You can do it, buddy.
You can do it, Wes. You can. So what do we have here? So I mean, just so people are aware, hatikva is not a verb. It's a
No, it's
noun.
3 words. Shit. All right, I should stop.
Okay.
Should we parse this
So
as one would do on a Thursday stream?
as
for
one does,
Chaotic Read?
maybe we can. So I and maybe that's it. Maybe the root here is the root. It's like a 3 hey, I think. So maybe the root is taka. So we're missing the last letter of the root. It's just become tick. I don't recognize the pointing of the form though, Vish. I'm struggling with
You know
that.
what I think here? I think what you need to do is you need to think like 6D chess, okay? Because you've got ha, which, as we know, there's the definite article
Is
the.
that I? Oh, okay.
Wait, just hang on. Remember, okay. Now, take obviously is going to be something about the root that's right there in the center, so it's got to be like the most important. But also, va is like the last syllable of God's name, and as we know, God is love. So you're going to have to put that together in a way that gets you, I love you.
This is Jesus. It's Jesus.
It's
Yeah.
Jesus, guys. It's Jesus.
We just got to figure out that root take.
This is
I'm not really sure what that would
You know-
amount to, but I'm sure it has to conjugate somehow to like me becoming like God
know-
and loving you. I don't know.
You know what would have made this absolutely delicious is if Wes had fucked this up even more, and instead of using the definite article, used the interrogative with the hataf underneath the hay. So but listen, there's 132 of you watching, and I feel like I need to apologize for us nerding out a little bit about this astonishing error of Hebrew, but it's you just have to take my word for it. And
No, you don't. They don't.
Hibris, you don't.
They
They
don't.
don't.
No, you don't.
They can come study it with you. This is
They
the
can-
beauty
They can do that.
Mhm.
Yes.
of
Yeah, kid,
studying
you should be
biblical
showing
Hebrew.
your class. Yeah.
You
We will
like,
parse this in my class.
I mean, like, look, if you study like Vishanti has, like,
Yeah.
you can sit here and when apologists say the Hebrew word for slave is a bed, like, you can laugh at them,
Ugh.
give a little chuckle, And then when
Ugh,
when they
take psychic
pronounce,
damage.
God, I'm sorry.
Oh,
And
oh, Simone, this is it. Simone has the interpretation. The
oh
Gematria of
my God.
Teak is 500, which is how many people Jesus appeared to after the crucifixion. Is that anything?
That'll preach. That'll
Yeah.
preach.
Oh yeah.
There you go. See, we're on the
Oh,
mystic level, man.
Thank
We
you, thank you,
Mhm.
Simone. Thank you for setting this straight for us.
Joel concurs. Just don't understand the context of the word. I mean, clearly.
I people keep telling me this that I'm not. If only I would read things in context.
Joel,
Okay.
I love you. Atikva, okay? I love you.
Oh no. I needed to laugh tonight, guys. I really
And
did.
can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
So, like, people screw shit up all the time,
Yes.
right? The reason that we're sort of harping on this is because it seems like there's a bit of arrogance that stands behind a lot of Christian apologetics, and certain people go out and present themselves or allow themselves to be presented as subject matter experts on things that they are clearly not experts on. And I think that could frustrate people from time to time. It's all a journey.
Yeah. It's all a journey.
So,
There's an alternative, y'all. If you'd prefer a different Hebrew teacher, apparently you can go learn from. I believe this is supposed to be SJ.
SJ's
Thomas.
teaching Hebrew?
I don't know.
That's
This is the first I've heard of it, but I'm I am quelling surprise at this. But anyways, but I think something else needs to be said here, Josh, because Wesley Huff is a PhD student at the University of Toronto in biblical studies. Granted, he's working on New Testament and early Christian manuscripts, but you've done a PhD in Assyriology, for which you had to know some languages. I've done a PhD in biblical studies, religions and theology, technically, for which I had to know some languages. You and I have talked a little bit about our mutual experiences going through these programs. I had, by the time I finished my MA, I had, I think, 4 full years of Hebrew. That's biblical
Mhm.
Hebrew, Dead Sea Scrolls, rabbinic texts. I had 3 full years of Greek. For my last Greek final exam that I wrote, I had to translate texts from the New Testament, Josephus, and Aristotle.
Josephus, the Jewish historian.
The writer of Antiquity of the Jews, the
Ah,
first
yes.
century Jewish historian. That's where I started. I had to, the very first thing that I did when I entered my PhD program at the University of Manchester was language testing, to ensure that I knew what the fuck I was doing before I started the PhD. No, Domingo Avila. I did not read Homer. So I don't know. Does that sound similar to your experience, Josh?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think the frustration here, if I'm interpreting what you're saying, is that the mastery of the languages that you're specializing in, it's not something that it comes quickly. It's not something that comes easily. And I think that like, Kip was talking about his Greek experience. In my
painful.
master's, in my THM program, I took 6 years of Koine Greek. Like we had a semester where we translated through all of the book of Hebrews, which anybody has done
That's
New Testament Greek, it
it's a
sucks.
bitch, guys. It's a
Yeah.
bitch.
It's like hapax legomena everywhere.
Ugh.
But you know, I think why this is frustrating is that when it's not our area of specialization, Kip and I are very quick to say, whoa, like, yeah, I've had some training in this, or yeah, I've got some experience. I can give you my opinion. But the reality is, like, you want to go talk to Jennifer Bird about this, or you want to go talk to, Joel Baden, or you want to go talk to whoever, because they're the ones that specialize in this particular part of the field. And that's just not, we tend to not see that sort of caution used in so many of these interactions.
Okay, Apologia.
Apology is here. Good to see you.
Yeah.
I checked ahead of time with him. He's not streaming tonight, but
There's
was
no
funny.
toast to toast tonight.
no, there's no toast to toast tonight, you guys.
But also, Josh,
I'm
for the folks
sorry
in the
to say.
audience who aren't linguist nerds, can you let them know what a hapax legomenon is?
Oh yeah, it's just a lexeme, a word that's only used once in the corpus that you're working with. So
I think you're being too charitable, Josh. You're going to be shocked to hear me say that. I think you're being too charitable because that's part of what I was getting at. But what I'm really getting at here is that this is an elementary mistake that Vish saw. Vishanti, how long have you been in class?
I mean,
learning
that's
Hebrew?
in class like less than 6 months, but I was already
You did some before,
kind of ahead of the curve because like I know like Hebrew from praying out liturgy and the prayer books and doing like textual studies on my own. Like it's mostly the reason that people in school take English. It's like you already speak it at home, you can read it, but you need to learn how to construct grammar, how to analyze sentences and parse things. So it's mostly strengthening foundations and learning, oh, this is why it's this way and not a different way, and really strengthening grammatical stuff and like obviously expanding vocabulary. So that's always been my one weakness is vocabulary. So you know.
Here's the thing. This is an elementary mistake. Like this is the word ahav, which means to love, is a ubiquitous word. It's a frequently occurring word. It's one of the first verbs that most people will learn in Hebrew. And the formation of the verbal clause, ohavtika, is basic. It's basic, guys. It's like first
like even B'nai Mitzvah students,
semester
you hear the
Hebrew.
word ahav every week in the synagogue multiple times because right after you say the Shema, you say ahavta. It's and you shall love. Like everybody knows the melody for that. So this is not like an obscure word here. It's just it's so frustrating.
No, I don't know anything about. I don't know any of the details about the program that Wes is in for his PhD. He's in his final year. He's getting a dissertation ready for defense this year. I'm just
concerned.
I'm concerned.
Well,
because
I mean, he's sorry, go ahead.
I did 3 years of Greek before I got into my PhD program where I wasn't prioritizing Greek. I mean, tons of my sources that I was working with in my program were Greek texts, but like it's not even my primary language. just
You know what? I
I'm
think
sorry.
maybe we should let this play for a little bit
So
and kind of see where they're going with it,
I
and then
think
maybe
this is-
circle back around.
this is all of it. This is the whole clip, and we're gonna move on to
Can I
Turek, but
just
say
Yeah.
something? Yeah.
Can I just say, like I think the issue here is that this isn't a, you know, you're in a live stream and somebody says, hey, can you parse this Hebrew verb, right? And you look at it and you're like, oh my God, like it's been 3 years since I've read anything in Hebrew. Right? This is, it seems, something that he put in while editing the video, right? So, I mean, at a minimum, you can just look up the word that you're putting on the screen that you're apparently typing out.
You can read it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you just look it up, and that's an actual word, tikva, right? It's a thing. You can just look it up. But I think, Kip, sounds like what you're saying is that this is one of those mistakes that it sort of tips your hand that, do you know Hebrew? Like, have you learned more than just sort of how to pronounce the letters?
think this is an open question. at
And
this
for
point.
me, the reason that it's a big one is you're out here commenting on Hebrew and Akkadian texts. You're talking
Yeah.
about Sumerian, right? You're out here on these very publicly. Lots of people view it. Somebody at my like. Anyway, the point is,
someone at your work is watching Wes Huff.
yeah, it said, "Hey,
Jeez.
do you know about
Like,
this?"
Oh, whew.
Yeah,
my
Oi.
kids know about this, right?
so this is why apologetics can rub, one of the reasons it can really rub me the wrong way.
Yep.
Is because there seems to be this sort of circling of the wagons, and to make sure that there's a mistake here, we can't let it seem like we don't know what we're doing. Right? It's much better to just come out and say, yeah, sorry, I haven't read Hebrew in a long time, and yeah, I just fucked this up. I need to crack the books open again.
I have.
Yeah, I think Simone really gets to the root of a lot of our frustration. This is concerning, not only not knowing this, because anybody can just not know something, but thinking that you can talk about the Hebrew Bible at all while getting basic stuff like this wrong. That's the problem. Like, Wes is speaking authoritatively on things when he's making basic errors. That is a problem.
Look, I have poked at Michael Jones for writing Hebrew from right to left in his presentation slides, and this makes me feel bad about that. Right? And Michael Jones isn't the one doing a PhD in biblical studies. So, oh my God, did I just say something nice about Michael Jones?
Look, you had to. He said that you were like the world's greatest scholar or something. That's what I heard. Said something like,
Yeah,
it doesn't walk on water, but
suspect
nothing
that
above the ankles gets wet. That's
the
what he said. I
emphasis
heard
at his college is almost certainly, in my opinion, on Greek, not Hebrew, and Hebrew is kind of an afterthought. That's what I've noticed with a lot of pastors and preachers and apologists, is they really go hard on the Greek because that's the New Testament, and you know, oh goodness.
Oh, wow. Did you just type that in there yourself, John?
Yeah, you know me.
Wow, I'm honored that you're actually watching my show, Megan. Thank you. So
she's actually right here trying to keep the
children,
her 3 youngest children from coming in.
I always feel so bad. But we need to move on. So maybe queue up the next part of the video. But before we do, we have a few super chats, so we should maybe quickly bang those out, and then we'll get to the the rest of it. So,
Well, hey,
are
that
you-
pivots real
right.
nicely. Claude Simeon for $2.
Yeah,
Damn,
he
Dr. Josh
does.
looks sharp. OMG.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you. It's really sweet.
Rebecca Raven became a new member, so hooray. And then later goes on to say, we always figured that the demon was like a PhD in psychology. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I know we read it, but just to be thorough. El Karaki for 10. Really appreciate all of you guys and your great work. Just got your book, Dr. Bowen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he says, nice kafia fish. Thank you.
That's
Okay.
awesome.
Then we have
That's awesome.
Flavius
The
Josephus, the first century Jewish
Jewish
historian,
historian.
also became a YouTube member. So that's pretty awesome.
That's
Good to have the
amazing.
historian of antiquity of the Jews. El Karaki for 5. For someone who wants to go to school for paleography, what would be your advice? Thanks.
But I think my advice would be don't. But no, seriously. It's it's definitely not for everyone, but if it's for you, it's pretty amazing. My advice would be, because in my experience, I actually never I'm not a formally trained paleographer because I couldn't find any when I wanted to learn how to do and this was this is what we typically call Hebrew and Jewish paleography. Um and I was constantly told that you just learn by doing, and I was unsatisfied with that. So in the course of my own education, I latched on to a couple of legitimate Hebrew paleographers that I respect. I spent a little bit of time with Ada Yordani. I did some work with one of my supervisors in Norway, Torleif Elgvin, is a decent paleographer. I spent a ton of time with another member of our project who wrote the paleography for the Scoin project. So I spent some time with uh oh shoot, I just my brain just sorry. Uh, find people who know what they're doing and do your best to spend the time with them and to learn from them and to pick things up. So SD Eshel, how could I forget SD Eshel? There's a bunch of people that I learned from. And like I said, and that's because I couldn't find a program. So if you can find a program, that's amazing. If not, then yeah, just do your best to find people. And if that's, if I can help you with that, then I'd be happy to as well. So people can generally reach out to me and get in touch with me with academic questions and things via my academia.edu page. So you can use that, and we could talk some more about this as well. I don't know, do you have any experience with paleography, Josh?
Yeah, I took some courses.
With
a course.
P. Kyle McCarter.
Yeah, with McCarter.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And Heather Parker. And they worked on the Tel Zayat inscription. I think they wrote a book together on the Tel Zayat Ebasidery. But we used Adobe Illustrator. We read all the, bunch of early inscriptions. Like we read the Gezer calendar and Herod Ostraca and all that stuff. And then we took and traced out the letters with Adobe Illustrator. And like you have the little bars. I mean, I wouldn't be able to do it anymore, but you have the little bars that you can move the line a little bit in this way or that way.
The pen path.
Yeah. And you can, then you end up with this, vector.
Yes.
Vector drawing.
Yes.
Come on, somebody. And then you just look at the different stances of the letters as you go down through time. And I mean, it's, I'm certainly, I would put someone in contact with Heather Parker. But yeah, I mean, like, I'm certainly not in any way more experienced than that.
Do we have some more? I see the natives are getting restless.
We
Paul
do.
said that he's tired of watching us and wants to see Frank Turek. Okay.
Like my FPV for 5, Dr. Bowen, thank you for your clarification on plagiarism and intertext. You know what? I'm just not doing words today. Total game changer. Kip your hair and goatee are beautiful.
Thank you.
Steve Williams sent a super sticker, and it's a cute little cartoon hippo spinning in a computer chair.
Aw.
For whatever reason. It doesn't show up in the studio.
That's awesome.
That
And
is great.
Chuck says, hey,
Oh,
Kit, registered for your Hebrew course. Very excited to learn Hebrew, but I like my Hebrew a little more metal and a little less bow tie.
I tell you, no. Yeah, everybody should go
Listen,
sign up
listen,
for Kip's
this
course.
I don't know. I
is,
think
this is why we're
Kip's
doing
class
this.
might contain like 100% fewer dad jokes. So you might be missing out.
So because listen, we are keenly aware that everybody has a different style.
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
Absolutely. All right, we'll get to some more super chats later, but we gotta move through this some of this Frank Turek nonsense. Let's take a look at this after we see. I did that,
Kit
guys.
fixing
That
it.
was me
Syllabifying it correctly.
There's many
Thank you.
examples in the Bible
Here we go.
where I can think of one like in Deuteronomy, if a woman was raped by a man, she had to marry the rapist.
Yeah.
If God is just, how is it just to marry a rapist?
Yeah, it's a great question.
This is one of the most shocking and emotionally charged objections to the Bible. Critics often argue that Deuteronomy 22:28-29 commands women to marry their rapists, leading many to question God's justice and the Bible's reliability. In this Q&A session at Louisiana State University, Ismail asked Frank Turek, if God is just, how is it fair for a woman to be forced to marry her rapist? This is a serious moral challenge that demands a careful, contextual response. Does the Bible truly endorse oppression,
What the hell
or
is
is this
this?
passage misunderstood due to translation and cultural bias? Stay tuned as we break down what this passage actually says in the original Hebrew, the historical and cultural
Here we go,
context of
guys.
ancient Israel's laws, why this law was designed to protect women, not oppress them. This is a conversation every Christian
Can we pause
must
it
be
for
prepared
just
to
a
answer.
second?
Let-
Look,
maybe you
this,
just
Okay.
while Josh talks, maybe can you skip it to where Frank starts talking again, Vish?
Yeah.
Sorry
Yes.
about
Please, by all means.
So-
I'm gonna go face palm.
that. I'm sorry.
this is the frustrating bit for me. If the law, like this is the, I don't know what kind of fallacy this is. Let's just say it's poisoning the well, just because that's the only one I know.
It's the only one I know.
Because apparently I commit it just all the time. It's setting up a dichotomy, and the dichotomy, this false dichotomy, and it says if the law is meant to protect individual A or whatever, then it's not bad. And that's like, I put it in any other context. I mean, like, read the laws about slavery in the antebellum South, right? The laws are there to protect the slave from being abused and beaten to death, right? Does that make it okay? Because it's there to protect? Like, it's there for the benefit of the vulnerable party here? I mean, what sort of nonsense idea is this? And the reality here is that I can take you to any ancient Near Eastern law that seeks to protect the vulnerable party. And they would have to say, oh, I guess this is okay then, because it's here. It's in some way trying to mitigate abuse or whatever to this party. It's just, it's such fallacious reasoning, even though I don't know what fallacy it is.
I love that you used fallacious though. That was nice. That was a nice touch. Well done. So yeah, let's watch and see where Frank goes with this.
Okay. Sorry, I had a rage blackout there for a second. I think I'm good.
Okay.
All right.
Had
All right.
been with another man, she basically was in a situation where she couldn't find another husband because she was supposed to, a husband was supposed to marry a virgin, not somebody who had sex with somebody else prior to. So that's why this provision is put in there. It wasn't rape, it was seduction. When you look at the context of these passages, you need it in order to know really what's going on. So that book
let's look at the.
All right.
Let's look at the
All right, sir.
context.
Thank
shall we?
you.
I think actually I think you need to back this up,
Hey, God
Fish. I'm
bless you.
sorry.
Yeah, I don't
Because
know.
it's-
You know what? I don't know where
gets to just
goes.
Here we
say
go.
that?
All right, go there. Okay, right there. Let's look
Okay,
at this.
you know what?
Sorry. My bad, guys.
Okay. All right.
Well,
all right,
first,
all right.
yeah. Let should we look at this? So this is Frank Turek doing a solid for his buddy, Paul Copan, according to the AI narrator here. By pulling out, actually, you know what? Back it up a little bit more, Vish, to where he starts talking about there. Yeah, let's start there. Let's maybe listen to see what he says.
Okay.
Here.
On the Old Testament God, here's what he says. Although rape was a common feature in ancient Near East warfare, Israelite soldiers were prohibited from raping women, contrary to what some crassly argue. Sex was permitted only in the bounds of marital commitment, a repeated theme laid out in the Mosaic Law. Rape in warfare wasn't a grand exception to the requirement of sexual.
Ding dong. He is wrong.
Oh my God.
Ding dong.
So wrong.
He is wrong.
So
First of all, rape was allowed by what we define it as today because the women weren't consenting. They didn't have any agency at all. Second of all, when he's like, oh, sex was only permitted within the bounds of marital commitment, that's not in there. Show me chapter and verse for that. Where it says, oh, you can't have sex with anybody you're not married to. I'll wait.
Mm-hmm.
And is like we have, and I can't remember where off the top of my head, but I think it's in some Neo-Assyrian, some text from the Neo-Assyrian period. But we have stipulations where, like, on the march back from a conquest, or some sort of a defeat where they'd taken prisoners, that the law was very strict, or the rule was very strict. These men were not to have sex with these captive women. And I really should have thought about that so that I could bring it up instead of just sort of generally saying that. But I mean, let's just assume for a second that this is straight. Like everything he said is true. It's not, but let's just assume it for a second that rape was a common feature in ancient Near Eastern warfare, and Israelite soldiers weren't allowed to do it. Therefore, what?
It never happened.
Never.
And so this law is good in Deuteronomy 22, or how about, Frank, we go back to Deuteronomy 21:10-14, where you take a captive bride, right? Is it okay there? Because, hey, that passage is also intending to protect the captive woman. Does that make it okay? I don't understand, Frank. Come on, Frank.
Ugh, fucking A.
And he's not even allowed to have sex with her, Josh.
For 30
days, guys.
30
You have
days.
to
He could
you have
die.
to keep that powder dry for 30 days.
Can't believe. So cruel.
So
Yeah,
cruel.
the source. Trust me, bro. At all.
All right. Okay. Let's have a look.
Woo! Okay.
So I just before,
Guess
and
we'll
I don't think we'll back it up anymore, but I did want to point out that Frank introduces Paul Copan as an Old Testament scholar.
Ugh.
Now, I mean, you've had some experience and some interactions with Paul. What's his training, Josh?
I think his PhD's in philosophy. Yeah.
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 Yeah. I've heard him.
Like IP?
He's
like Mike Jones?
Except he doesn't have a PhD. But we're not counting. No one's counting here, guys. So Paul Copan's an interesting case because I've heard him described as an Old Testament scholar. I've heard him described as an expert in ancient
Near Eastern war rhetoric.
War rhetoric. Whatever.
Which
the
means he's
fuck
read Lawson Younger's
that-
book. That's what it means.
Yes.
If you read Lawson
Yes.
Younger's book, you're an
Okay.
expert in
So-
ancient Near Eastern war rhetoric.
Apparently, these guys just don't even bother.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the first things I do when I read a book and I like it or I hate it. Is I go and I check, who is this person? What are they
Yeah.
doing? What are they working on? Right? I mean, it's just, and I don't know. Maybe that's that's just from years of doing this shit. But
got
I just
spoiled by having all of the scholars like Dr. Bird and all of the Diablo critics and Stavropoulos and all the other people doing amazing work. And when I get excited and I look up something and I go, oh, this person's not even the academy. Oh, I just start staring into the distance because something like Paul Copan, it's like, you're not even in this field. Why are you opining so confidently and yet so wrongly?
it's honestly one of those things. Like, I can't imagine being Paul Copan and sitting back one day and going, you know what? I think I'm going to write this book. Don't know anything about the Old Testament, but I'm going to write this book. Right? Anyways.
Does he actually deal in the video with the verb tafas?
Later.
I doubt it.
So
Oh!
but Frank doesn't,
But it's
but
fun.
AI
I see.
generated voice.
Oh,
we'll
okay.
try to get there.
Shall we
Okay,
sally
let's
forth?
go. Let's sally.
Fidelity.
Okay.
There are three different scenarios in the passage you're talking
Here we
about.
go.
In Deuteronomy 22, 23 to 29. There's adultery, rape, and seduction with no resistance. All right? Adultery, in other words, if the two accused were committing adultery, then they both were given capital punishment. Okay?
Just
Because that was a
everywhere.
capital
That's
crime.
Everywhere in the ancient
If
Near
it
East.
was
Verses 23 and
Again?
24 is adultery. And yeah, repeat, Josh.
Oh, I mean, this is just the way that it was across the ancient
Mhm.
Near East.
Yeah.
Nothing
rape,
special
in
there.
other words, the woman did not submit, then it was capital punishment for the man. If it
Okay.
was seduction, in other words, if the woman was not pledged to be married, the man was to pay a fine and was obligated to marry her unless her father refused. So in this case, the woman is
Is this why so many evangelicals want to legalize child marriage? Because they're like, oh, well, she's not like engaged to anybody. It's totally fine. And then it's totally not like.
I'm
this
not
it? Is this
touching
where
that.
they react?
I don't know.
Disgusting.
But I think it's
I feel
important
gross.
I think it's important to hear what Frank said though. Seduction. Look at this. Seduction. If a woman was not pledged to be married, that's seduction. That's an interesting interpretation. Definition of the word seduction.
Okay.
Is that a good definition of the word seduction? Not pledged to be married. I don't know.
Shall we continue?
Yes.
is-
Okay.
Frustrating. Okay.
not raped. She has consented to this.
Consent.
And the man then was obligated to marry her and unless the father refused, he could never divorce her. This ensured her security because
Hey, Josh, if a telemarketer calls you up and then says, hey, you won a bunch of money in the Publishers Clearinghouse, you just need to, like, pay me some money so I can release the funds to you. If you did that and realized later on you'd been scammed, would that be your fault? Because you consented, you fell for it.
Yeah, I mean, this is why I get concerned about apologists' definition of consent.
Because it's like, oh, well, you seduced her and she didn't give in. She gave in, But seduction's just a fancy word for
Manipulation.
pulling one over with your words. You're
Mhm.
being clever in a way.
Yeah.
But
it's
like,
tact. Like,
The elephant in the room is that obviously 28 and 29 is not about seduction.
It's really not. And we'll
yeah,
get to that.
yeah, it's not.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
Uh,
as Vishanti, I mean, as you're saying, like even if it were,
even if it were.
But
stick flex.
therefore what, right?
Strangely,
Like,
our
it just-
laws penalize the scammer and not the person who was scammed.
That's weird.
Hmm.
Oh, all right. Press play.
In the ancient Near East culture, she would be ostracized and unable to find a husband and protection.
So
Now,
can we just
notice
pause
this
it
Old
for a
Testament
second?
law.
So I just want people to recognize that this final sentence. Sorry, were you going to say something, Kip?
No.
Okay. This final sentence. This ensured her security because in the ancient Near Eastern culture, which I would love to know how Frank knows anything about that.
Me too.
She
Paul
would be
Copan.
ostracized. Oh, okay.
He checked with his buddy, the Old Testament scholar, the expert in ancient Near Eastern warfare, or whatever.
She would be ostracized and unable to find a husband and protection. So let's just test this. Yes. In which particular ancient Near Eastern culture? Yes, that is exactly right.
Well, there's only one. Don't you know? I'm screaming because this final little bullet point, he went through all of that, all of this defending it, just to go, yeah, well, the law's not applicable today. It's only for the theocracy of ancient Israel. Girl, pick a struggle.
Yeah.
You can't go through all of this and go, well, it wasn't actually that bad and it was good for the woman. Like, really? But it doesn't count for us today. Like, girl, you know that, like, just a couple chapters earlier, you are perfectly fine going, you shall not lie with a man as you do with a woman. Like, just.
Yeah.
But, I mean, think about Deuteronomy 21, 10-14. This is the captive bride law. We've talked about it a bunch of times. But we tend to stop like at verse 13, I think is where that section of it ends, because it's like bad enough. we don't have to keep going. Bad enough. But what it says at the end of the law is that if you lose your liking for her, you can't trade, like utilizing her to make a trade as like an economic tool. And you can't sell her. Right? What do you have to do? You have to let her go where she wishes. Well, wait a second. This is a captive. This was a captive woman whose city has been, destroyed or.
Where's she gonna go?
Yeah.
So it's been. That's right. Well, whatever has befallen her, probably what we see in Deuteronomy 20. She's now in Israel, right? Her city has been destroyed. Her people have been destroyed and are in captivity, according to the lights of the passage, its internal frame of reference. So what does it mean to let her go where she will? Aren't you just letting her go to her death, Frank? Isn't that what you would have to argue with this last statement? Because she's been defiled. The Hebrew word there is the PL of anah, right? To be deflowered,
oh my God. Humbled, but it's a euphemism.
This is
a So what is it, Frank? I mean, you can't have it both ways. This law must be punishing the woman for not being good enough to keep her man interested. I mean, I think that's what he would have to argue, because if she's being let go where she will, where she wishes, like to herself, right? That's got to be a punishment if this last sentence is right. So which one is it, Frankie? I just don't like this.
I said, pick a struggle. He
Yeah,
went ahead and talked about this woman. Oh, well, she would have been seen as tainted goods and no one would have wanted to marry her. And then he completely leaves out the part where it's like, oh, well, if the guy just for whatever reason stopped liking her, you just let her go. Well, then I guess everyone else will see her as tainted goods? How is this law doing anyone any good?
Yeah,
Frank?
the thing is, like, there's no question. Like, I don't think this is where I think taking a little kernel of truth and then trying to sprout something from it is the problem. So there's no question that she becomes, in their eyes, devalued. Nobody's questioning that.
Nope.
Right? It's this additional. What did Stephen call it? The Mott and Bailey, right? It's
Yeah.
this additional
Oh, yeah.
thing where she's going to be ostracized, unable to find a husband and protection. She's just going to be out there in the wild to be done with whatever. Like, this is just not the case. You can't have it both ways. Anyway,
I think what Dr. Bowen is saying here, Frank, is that it's time to put that demon of yours to work. All right. Let's continue, shall we?
Shall I proceed? Yes,
Yes.
indeed.
Law is not applicable today. It was only for the theocracy of ancient Israel.
Oh,
So in that
that's
time,
good, right?
if
That's
she
good.
had been with another man, she basically was in a situation where she couldn't find another husband because she was a husband was supposed to marry a virgin, not somebody who had sex with somebody else prior to. So that's why this provision is put in there. It wasn't rape, it was seduction. When you look at the context of these passages, you need it in order to know really what's going on.
The context.
So that book might be helpful. All right.
Yeah.
All right,
sir.
Thank you.
There we go.
Hey, God bless you.
Well done.
And you know what?
All right.
The fact that he let that kid come up and shake his hand, that's a young
Right.
man who's going to go around with this toxic, violent idea that he's going to defend. I mean, well, he just made the case and it sounded convincing to me.
Yep.
So, look what you
I-
just perpetuated, Frank.
I think we should read the text. So can you bring up
what?
the slideshow, Vish?
Look,
I
don't go
like-
confusing people with data.
Ugh.
What
Gosh.
can I say? I like to read, y'all. Oh, my dog's playing with it.
He do.
Can
He do. All right.
Yes. All right.
This is the
That's
slideshow.
not it.
Okay.
That's the last slide.
Okay. Okay. Sorry.
That's okay.
Just gonna go
We'll-
back
we'll
because
just
it
go
just
all
does
the
whatever
way
it
back.
wants.
Here we
Hey,
go.
Kip, did you get that memo where you're supposed to put the text as small as you so nobody can? Oh, you did. Okay, good.
I did. Yes. So you're welcome, everyone.
Okay.
All right, here we go. This is Deuteronomy 22. Remember, there's 3 parts. There's 3 individual rulings in this section. There's the first one, which is about adultery, right? The second one is about rape, and the third one was about seduction, right? So we're gonna look at this first one. I've got the Hebrew text there. I translated it today, and you guys can tell me how I did.
Mish Cuppet.
Ha-tikva.
I
If a
love
bird-
you too, Kip.
I do. Oh my God. What is happening?
Goodness.
All
right.
right. If a virgin girl is betrothed to a man, and a man finds her in the city and sleeps with her, then you shall bring the 2 of them to the city gate and pelt them with stones, and they shall die. The girl, because she did not cry out in the city, and the man, because he violated the woman of his compatriot, of his Ra, his neighbor, his fellow Israelite. Why? So shall you purge the evil from your midst. So this is this adultery? I mean,
Legally, I mean, I'm thinking in Jewish halakha brain right now, because if you're engaged, you are effectively already that person's spouse, but you haven't sealed the deal, so to speak. Like that to me is why there's a different case for this, because you're pledged to someone, you just haven't like consummated it. So again,
Yeah,
to me, this feels like, oh, you're just stealing another guy's property because he was going to consummate it. You know?
Yeah, and this is, this is pretty standard across ancient Near Eastern law collections. So in the Volume 2 of the Atheist Handbook to the Old Testament, I have that chapter on rape and adultery laws, and I'm doing comparative analysis between those that you see in the ancient Near East and those that you see here in the Hebrew Bible, and they're, in the end, they're on par with one another. So this is very consistent with general ancient Near Eastern legal practice.
Very true. But I think as we move forward here, I think everybody needs to pay attention and to think about these laws in terms of their economic impact doesn't feel like the right word. Their economic force. The point. This has to do with value, with the valuation of property, of resources, of assets. Okay. Within this culture, a woman's virginity is an asset. That's what's at the heart of this. Okay. So that's the first one. Let's look at the next one, shall we?
Probably doesn't need to be stated, but how the hell do they know if she cried out or not?
And yeah. And what if she didn't? Right? There are plenty of conditions in which a woman
Fight,
may
flight,
not.
freeze, or fawn.
Yeah. Things that ancient people just did not really understand once upon a time, right? Okay, this is verses 25 to 27. This is the what Frank has identified as the rape law. But if the man is found in the field with a betrothed girl and the man grabs her and sleeps with her, then the man who slept with her, he alone shall die. As for the girl, you are to do nothing. There is for the girl no sin worthy of death. So just as when a man rises up against his compatriot, his Ra, his fellow Israelite, and murders him, it shall be so in this matter. So this is calling back to a different ruling in terms of how you're to handle it. Because he found her in the field, when she cried out, there was no one to hear her. So she's absolved from culpability here.
Ain Moshi Allah. That's an interesting turn of phrase. I also find it significant that in this passage, they refer to her as the Na'ara, but not Na'ara Batullah. So, pardon me, I'm going to be going off on a rabbi trail here.
Yeah, that's a good observation. That's true. So what Vish is pointing out here is that in the former law, it was specified that it was a Na'ara Betullah, which is a virgin girl. Here it is just the Na'ara who is Na'ara Betullah.
Na'ara is like young, youthful girl.
Probably.
Yeah.
So.
But here it's just the young girl.
Yeah. So, but I don't think, I guess one can make a distinction between adultery and rape, but I don't think that's what the text is trying to do, or at least not if we're thinking about this through our modern eyes. I would say that's not what the text is trying to do. What the text is trying to do is determine again, it's valuation, right? It has to do with how do you weigh the consequences and the loss in one situation versus another. So
I mean, they're also making a distinction about where this stuff happens, because in the city, obviously, it reads to us like they're blaming her. Oh, she didn't cry out, but what's the point of crying out? So people can come rescue you and intervene, right? Here, it's saying, oh, you're in the field.
Yeah.
And it says, he found her in the field. And when she, cries out or whatever, it says, Ain Moshe Allah, there's nothing, no one to save her. So to me, there's also this idea of like, hey, the community's supposed to be, I guess, responsible for each other's safety in a way. Like, if you hear somebody yelling for help, you're supposed to intervene. But yeah, it's like apparently out in the field, I guess you're just that far out of earshot or something. But yeah, literally.
Guess so. That's
Yeah.
rough. All right, should we look at the seduction law?
All right.
All right. Suppose a man finds a virgin girl, a na'ara betula, who is not betrothed. Now, notice in the former two laws, that was the difference here, right? What do you do with a girl who is betrothed, but whose sexual her sexual her sexual access has been violated by someone other than
the rights to her
intended.
sexuality.
Yeah, the rights to her sexuality.
Yeah.
Thank you. This is a virgin girl who is not betrothed. That's the key difference here. Okay. He grabs hold of her. Hi, Vish.
Sorry.
That's
Sorry.
okay. He grabs hold of her and sleeps with her. Then the man who slept with her shall hand over to the father of the girl 50 pieces of silver, and she will become his woman. This is, I think it's important just to remind everyone, and Dr. Jennifer Bird's excellent book on marriage in the Bible. This is a convention that she uses, that I've adopted. The word used for wife that is commonly translated as wife in the Hebrew Bible is just the same word as woman. And I think it's important to point out that there was no clear understanding of marriage in the same way that we do in the modern world. Coupling worked quite a bit differently in antiquity, in ancient Hebrew society. So she will become his woman. After by which he violated her, he is not able to send her away all of his days. And there's that term again, the PL form of ana. It's devaluation of the asset here. So yeah. So this is seduction.
Yeah, I mean, so if that's all right, there are two things that that come up in this passage, and Kip's touched on them. The first is, what is the meaning of this word that translated to seize, and it's the Hebrew word tafas. What does it mean to seize someone? And then the second thing is, and I think maybe your eye might have skipped over it, Kip, when you translated, because v'nimtza'u.
Oh, yeah, I did.
And they are found.
And they are found. I missed it.
They are found.
Yeah. And what people want to do with that is they want to read into that. Wait a minute, they are found. They're like found out. Okay, so
Caught in the
they're
act.
both doing this. They're caught in the act, right?
Yeah.
Would it be okay if I shared my screen?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, yes.
Let's see. Present. Share screen. And I want to share that. Sorry. Okay. I think I did it.
Looks
Okay,
good to me.
So this is my, I'll zoom in. This is my chapter on, oops, not supposed to do that. This is my chapter on rape and adultery laws in the Hebrew Bible and Ancient Near East. So this is the section on Deuteronomy 22, 28 to 29. So you'll notice here, Freimer Kinski says, who was, she died. I remember, I think she, anyway. The third law, 28 to 29, involves sex with an unengaged girl, but does not state that she was overpowered. Emphasis mine. Let's take a look at the broader usage of the word tafas and see how we should translate it. So Freimer Kinski is one of two scholars that I know, I can't remember the other one, who allows for the possibility here that it's not forced. I don't think it's a tenable position. So the verb occurs 65 times in the Hebrew Bible in a total of 60 verses. When we examine some of the uses of the word chazak, which is used in an earlier passage, we saw that some contexts might allow for a more idiomatic or nuanced meaning. However, with the verb tafas, there is a clear and consistent use of the verb, particularly when it concerns seizing people.
Mm-hmm.
We won't go into all the 65 occurrences, as a sampling of the examples will more than suffice.
I bet Josh has a spreadsheet, though.
I do. There are several passages in which the verb is used by a ruling official to command that someone be seized or arrested. In 1 Kings 13:4a, we read, "And when the king heard the word of the man of God who called out concerning the altar of Bethel, Jeroboam stretched out his hand from the altar, saying, 'Seize him.'" It's the word tafas.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, in 1 Kings 18:40, we read, "And Elijah said to them, 'Seize the prophets of Baal. Do not let anyone escape.' And they seized them. And Elijah brought them down to the Wadi Kishon and executed them there." Several other verses contain similar commands or descriptions of seizing/arresting actions, and I've written some out here. In fact, of the 65 occurrences of the verb, excluding Deuteronomy 22:28, at least 39 involve the idea of seizing, grabbing forcefully, or capturing. Most of the remaining uses describe someone grabbing a weapon to wield it or grabbing an instrument to play it. With all of this in mind, let's return to Deuteronomy 22:28. If a man finds a young virgin woman who is not betrothed and seizes her and lies with her, in keeping with the overwhelming majority of occurrences in which people are the objects of seizure, this verse certainly should be understood as the man grabbing, restricting, forcing the woman to lie with him. These data have led most scholars to conclude that this is a forced sexual act. And I give some examples here. Otto, Nelson, whatever. If the verb denotes forcible seizing of a woman by the man, why would some scholars entertain the idea that this is seduction rather than rape? Part of the issue is the phrase, "they are found." Nelson explains that "they are discovered," contrast verse 22, might suggest some responsibility on her part. He refers to verse 22, the opening portion of which reads, "If a man is found lying with a woman." The argument would be that if both the man and the woman are found or discovered, this would include her in the wrongdoing. However, verse 22 does not appear to support this position, as only the man is found here, but both the man and the woman are to be killed, as they are guilty of adultery. It seems as though the act of the two being found in verse 28 does not indicate the guilt of the woman. Anyway, there's more here, but this is the idea, and I'll stop sharing so we can, and again, that's just stop screen share.
It's a good book, guys. You all should get it.
Oh,
You
Oh,
should
I
fix
appreciate
that.
that.
Yes, you should.
I've
But I-
actually
And
got them both
if
sitting
you
on my
have them
shelf right
already,
now.
you should
You're
maybe
buying them.
buy them again.
Give them as a gift.
Yeah, give them as a gift. That's right.
That's
Yeah.
very kind of you
Educate
guys.
these folks.
I just think that what apologists tend to do is they tend to look at the Exodus 22 passage and say, okay, well, if it has that meaning there, I mean, it must mean it here, right?
Right.
And now we've
That's
got this
it, right?
word. And the problem is, like, there's a reference in Amos that like could be a factor. I think it's in Amos 2. I've got it written here somewhere. But anyway, but the problem is that in the specific syntactical construction that we find as the person as the object, in every case, a person is an object. It's seizing, it's restraining.
Mm-hmm.
But also,
So-
the simpler answer is the reason they want this to mean seduce is because they have already decided the text is inerrant and good and morally unimpeachable. So they have to figure out a way to sanitize it.
Frank,
Like,
actually,
oh, well, this isn't
yeah.
forcing a woman and humiliating her and doing all this stuff. Like, they have to find a way to justify it.
Exactly right. And Frank already, I don't know if you caught that, but he has already connected this to the passage in Exodus 22. It's 17 in the English, but it's like, I think it's verse 15 in the Hebrew. Somebody had asked, I noticed somebody had asked earlier what the Hebrew word for seduce would actually be, and that's where, you know, something like it appears, and it's the verb pateh, v'ki yifate ish betula asherlo ordasha. So
Also, just from a
if
scribal,
a man woos
yeah,
a virgin who is not betrothed, so and we have a term for that here as well when people do this.
Univocal voice.
So it's
Nice.
sorry.
Yep. Also, in the future, you may want to double check your final nuns just in case, 'cause I think those
Vish.
sneaked in there.
No, this is a scribal feature. This is the Masoretes.
Okay.
Sometimes those final letters appear where they should not in the text. And not just in the Masoretic text, but we see stuff like this in the Dead Sea Scrolls too. So, but
I mean, I'm used to seeing the inverted nun to denote like some special sections of Torah, but I have yet to find the internal final nun, so that's a new one for me.
Sometimes these could be. It's been suggested that these could be features of actually like the antiquity of the text. Just as an aside, in terms of the development of scripts in the Aramaic script, the final forms of the letters are actually the earlier forms of the letters. Medial forms developed later. So this is probably like an indication that, you know, maybe this is just super fucking old. So
Can I share my screen one more time?
sure.
So there's actually another law that sort of stands in this same category.
Oh, this
in
is
Middle
good,
Syrian
yeah.
laws, A55.
Yeah.
So it's a little lengthy. Forgive me. If a man, and this is, you know, it's a Middle Assyrian. This would have been like, you know, the late second millennium. If a man forcibly seizes and rapes a maiden who is residing in her father's house, then there's a small break there, who is not betrothed, whose womb is not opened, who is not married, and against whose father's house there is no outstanding claim. In other words, she's clear to marry whoever father wants to marry her off to. Whether within the city or in the countryside, or at night, whether in the main thoroughfare or in a granary, or during the city festival, The father of the maiden shall take the wife of the fornicator of the maiden and hand her over to be raped. He shall not return her to her husband, but he shall take and keep her. The father shall give his daughter, who is the victim of fornication, into the protection of the household of her fornicator. If he, the fornicator, has no wife, the fornicator shall give triple the silver as the value of the maiden to her father. Her fornicator shall marry her.
Wow.
He shall not reject her. If the father does not, pay attention to this last part. If the father does not desire it so, he shall receive triple silver for the maiden, and he shall give his daughter in marriage to whomever he chooses. Now, wait a second. Wait
That
a
seems
second.
kind of
That's
better.
not right. That's not right. If they've had sex with somebody, they can't get married. Right? Nobody's gonna like.
Well,
It wouldn't, right?
hmm.
You
Well,
had your
obviously
one
that's
Ancient
not
Near
chance.
part
Eastern
of
culture,
the
guys.
ancient Near Eastern culture, obviously.
Yeah.
So,
Go figure.
anyway,
So
this is why I think when people say, and I think we're going to be talking about this tomorrow, actually, Kip. When people say things like the ancient Near Eastern laws or the surrounding nations, the laws of the surrounding nations, get them to be very specific, right? Don't let them just say the ancient Near Eastern laws.
Yes,
Which
please.
one?
Which nation? Which law?
Yeah. Which period? Which geographical region? Right? Because here, like if I were a Middle Assyrian apologist, I can make a really strong case here that this is so much better than what the Bible says.
I think you can make a strong case.
So, but
in that
again, it's
direction.
just, yeah. Anyway,
But
sorry.
Also, Kip, I want to show you something. This is the Leningrad Codex.
Oh, sweet. Here we go.
And this is that same passage.
Nice.
Tahat Asher Ina. So
With a medial noon.
medial noon.
Yeah.
Are we supposed to
Look
be
at
able
that.
to see it too? Because
we can't see it. I can see it,
of course.
but
And I
nobody
have
else
to
can
share
see
it because I'm
There
a
you go.
professional. There we go.
Yes.
All right. So
So-
yeah,
What
here's
language
the
is
same
this?
passage. Proto-Yiddish.
Yes, that's it. Reformed Egyptian.
Yeah. So
So
like
you
Ja
can see
Tahadashir Ina right here. That's the medial
the
noon.
proper
Boop, right
medial
there.
noon. Nice. But now
Mhm.
now I'm kind of
Yeah.
interested to know why BHS preserves a final noon there. That's cool.
Yeah. Rabbi
right.
trails.
Rabbi trails. Okay.
Mhm.
Shall we can drop the just maybe click forward to the next slide. I think I just had the text of Exodus 22:17 because Frank brought it up. There it is. But suppose a man woos a virgin who is not betrothed and he sleeps with her, he must pay a bride price to make her his woman. If her father absolutely refuses to give her to him, he shall pay silver according to the price. For virgins. So
Yifate, isn't that like related to the word for beautiful or something? Because
I think so.
speaking like sweetly or something like that. Wooing, I guess, is good.
So it's actually not. Because
No?
you're
Is
thinking
that
of
a different word?
Yafa, right? You're thinking of Yafa.
That's right. That's right. You got it. Yeah.
So, but it's in the
Yep.
so this is a PL, right? So in
Okay,
the
yeah, I see
Cal,
pointing there.
I'm just going off halot here. It means to be simple, to be inexpert, or to be gullible. In the Nifal, it's to let oneself be deceived or to be taken a fool. And in the PL, which is our stem here, it's persuaded.
Yeah, it's like to
yeah,
bring about the state of gullibility. That is interesting.
That is
like a
right.
facultative.
Yes.
Yeah.
It totally is.
I think that's what it is. Facultative.
Totally is.
Now I gotta look it up.
So I also just let's drop the slideshow. We'll look at there's 2 super chats here. We'll pull up. But before we do that, I just want to point out that Apology is favorite a cappella group is Univocal Voice. So
That's
But
good.
they'd all be.
Mine is for him. So
kind of
actually,
a-
I don't think they were a cappella.
What kind of an a cappella group though would, because they'd have to be singing in unison, wouldn't they? Like the whole time. I mean, I guess that could be okay.
You're
but,
such a nerd.
I know I am.
I like Rockapella because they were on Carmen Sandiego, and that show was awesome.
Yeah. All right. John Greer. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Anyone catch the newest Hillman appearance on Danny Jones? Yes, I did. It's like watching Jerry Springer. Yes, it is. And there's not much more to say. Ammon Hillman is a cartoon character and a clown who performs stupid human tricks as one did on Jerry Springer or on Jackass, right? I don't see the qualitative difference here. Am I wrong?
I don't know. Every time I think of Jerry Springer now, I think about Diamond Dave.
Yes.
Thank you for
Yes.
purchasing a Diamond Dave's a ninja teaching flicks. Now, if I was to put them there in my pockets, they give me for the concealing of a deadly weapons. Don't go ninja. Nobody don't need ninja. All right. Okay.
Weapons. Yep. Weapons.
Oh my
Nailed
god.
it.
Incredible. Thank you. Aramgard. Thanks for the super chat. When are you and McClellan gonna throw down over Psalm 82? This is something that somebody has suggested, and Dan has been like, yeah, let's talk about this.
Oh, I would sign up for this.
Somebody
Heck
has
yeah.
suggested that we have different takes on Psalm 82, but we've not actually talked about this, and I'm not sure if we do. So, but it'll be, yeah. I mean, we're both open to it. It's just scheduling, right? So maybe I'll ping Dan again tonight or tomorrow and see if we can set something up like this.
When
But,
you do throw down, make sure you get a firm hold on your ninja nunchucking handles and you get to bump it.
Put him in the figure 4 leg lock.
oh God, it's in moments like these I wish I had made a clip of David Falk talking about jujitsu. So
Oh god.
sorry.
my.
Shall we play some more of the video, Vish?
I suppose.
I will
I'm having
probably
fun,
have
guys.
to duck out in like
Yeah.
15 minutes just so.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll see how far we get. I'm
Yeah,
having
well,
fun. though.
I'm a professional.
Good
I
night.
need to add it to the stage.
It's Friday.
Okay.
Commonly
We're
charged
drinking wine.
objection skeptics raise against
We're partying.
Christianity is the claim that the Bible forces rape victims to marry their rapists. In this Conda session, Ismail asked Frank Turek to explain Deuteronomy 22:28, 29, a passage that is frequently misunderstood and used to challenge God's justice. This question touches on several core apologetics issues. We trust it in true text historically. It's to know how a just God concerned that men will endure 29, or is this women as property? Skeptics frequently claim that biblical law treated women as property, forcing them
Which it
into
does.
unwanted marriages for the sake of male authority. Is this true, or does biblical law actually protect women in ways that were unheard of in the ancient world?
No, it
What does
doesn't.
Deuteronomy 22 actually say?
Oh yes, please.
Protects them in ways that were unheard of. No.
No.
Exactly. In ways that were very
Deuteronomy
much
22,
heard of.
28, 29 states, if a man
Okay.
meets a virgin who is not betrothed and seizes her and lies with her, and they are
Yes.
found, then the man who lay with her shall give to the father of the young woman 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife, because he has violated her. He may not divorce her all his days. At first glance, this sounds horrifying, but context
Because
and
it is.
translation matter. 1. The passage does not refer to rape. The Hebrew word used here, Tafas, means to seize, but not necessarily by force.
Tapas.
See, this is the beauty of taking biblical Hebrew with us, right? You get to laugh along because
You get to laugh.
after like your third week, you will be able to spot that. You'll be like, oh my God, it's Tafas.
Yes.
So
Yes. Sign up, y'all.
Force. Compare this with Deuteronomy 22:25, which describes actual rape using the word chazak, meaning violent force.
oh man. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful.
Shazak.
Oh, to have the confidence of a middle-aged, mediocre white man.
It's an AI, guys. It's an AI voice. All right, let's be fair.
P.S. Stop
The
using
confidence-
generative AI. I don't care
Right.
who you are or how convenient it is. Stop being a lazy asshole because you are literally causing adverse effects to the climate.
You really are.
One chat GPT query cost a bottle of water. Just letting y'all know. That's my
Just-
soapbox.
The word
Just
Tafas
so
is
hold
used
on,
elsewhere in
just pause
Scripture
it for a second. Just so everyone's clear, the word he's searching for is not Chazak. It's
Actually, I think that's a Pokemon character.
Yeah, really.
might be.
Just like chokes. It's a
You can do
killing
it,
word.
everyone. It's the guttural sound you make in the back of your throat here. It's Chazak. Okay, we can all do that. Chazak.
Chet. The Hebrew letter chet.
Chazak.
It's a very preppy Hebrew letter.
Yeah, really.
All right.
Good grief.
Wish I could have taken
Okay.
the alpha.
for playing a musical instrument, Genesis 4:21, or
did
taking
you
someone
catch
by the
that?
hand, Ezekiel
I'm taking
The
someone
what?
by the hand.
Hang on, I gotta play that again.
playing a
Yeah.
musical instrument, Genesis.
Hang on.
Yeah, back it up
The
a
word
little bit more.
Tafas is used elsewhere in Scripture for playing a musical instrument, Genesis
No, it's
4:21,
not.
or taking someone by the hand, Ezekiel 21:11.
It's not
actually
playing
is.
the
It
instrument.
actually
it's
is.
grabbing
Yes,
the instrument.
there-
Grabbing
okay,
the instrument.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
Fair.
my,
It's
okay,
it's
okay,
pla- it's the same word that's used for playing a sword.
Do,
Yeah,
do you
it's
want
just
to
playing a
just
sword.
before continuing the video? Do you want to just bring up the slide presentation? I can show the nice people my microscopic wall of text here. And
Okay.
this is
Let me
I
grab.
don't expect people to follow this closely, but this is what we're looking at here. This is the lexical entry for Tafas. And this is
Don't
really
you start doing it.
Stop.
Don't you start
sorry.
doing
I
it.
didn't.
You did it with
Don't.
ahav
Just don't.
I know.
ticha,
I
right?
know.
Stop doing it. It's ahav ticha. Ahav
Yes.
ticha. Come on,
Sorry,
you do this. You pick this stuff up. These bad habits from the harem.
Yeah, from the
The-
harem.
Harem.
Tafas. This is the entry for Tafas.
Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. It's the wine talking, guys. It really is. So you'll notice how this is laid out. This is from the Hebrew Aramaic lexicon of the Old Testament. The first paragraph there is just this is a general introduction to cognates, how different languages, Semitic languages, where roots that seem to be closely related appear, and how they're used. You don't have to go into any of this. The general meaning is to seize or to take possession. And we have a bunch of entries there. The Dead Sea Scrolls, Jewish Aramaic, Old Babylonian, a couple of
Arabic.
someone from Arabic there. Okay, so now if you go down, there's an indent there and it's bolded. It's probably hard to tell, but that says kal. All right, and that is the form of the verb in Hebrew. Every verb is formed through a three-letter root. In this case, tav, pe, shin, or sin. Sorry. Or Samic. And the verb is built on that root, and it takes different forms depending on how it's used. In the kal, this is the strong verb, you'll notice that there is a specific meaning applied to this usage: to lay hold of or to seize. The very first entry there under 1a is with the preposition bet, of the thing. We don't have to go back to the text, but this is the usage here in the text that we're talking about. So when we see that, that's how we should be translating it. What this guy is doing is just looking in the lexicon and trying to find a meaning in there somewhere, which might not be what this actually is. So he
Yeah,
actually
you just
settles
scroll
on
down here to the genitive to use,
Yes.
perform a task,
to
to handle something.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go. And you'll notice it's as a participle as well, right? Which is not how it appears in this text. Guys, this is why knowing the language matters if you're going to get into making arguments, making cases about the texts from the language. You actually have to know the fucking language to use the language to make your point. I hope that's clear. So here we go. If you look just down a little bit further under point 4 A in the third line there, you've got those who can handle an or in Ezekiel 7, 27, 39. And then you've got the entry that he has picked out here, right? Kol Tafas, that's a participle, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Kinor ve'ogar. Okay? All who play the pipe and the lyre, who hold on to, who have taken hold of the pipe or the lyre. But yeah, you can't
also
use it.
I recognize that from Psalm 150. I was just reading that last night.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Yeah, because that's almost word for word.
So
Kinor and Veogov.
we can drop that now. And go back to the video. I just wanted to show people the lexicon.
So. Yeah, it's the same thing. Like when you're looking at the words for English, like contract and contract are the exact same word. They are spelled the exact same way. But if you don't know the language and you don't know what the difference is between an action and a noun, you're going to be very confused.
Maybe in the same way
contract
that
versus a contract, a document. So
the AI writer for this script used this really obscure form of the word condescend. Did you catch that when he was talking about the exchange between Frank Turek and this guy Ismail? It's not much different from that.
Mm-hmm. We've only got a few more minutes before Josh has to dip. Do you want me to finish the video or skip to a different part?
Let's just.
Because it looks like it's just a bunch of AI narration.
Honestly, it's just the stuff about the languages, and he's got one more thing to say about the verb chazak, and then we can probably let it go.
Okay.
We can let Josh.
Not violent force. Thus, scholars like Paul Copan, Is God a Moral Monster, argue that this passage refers to a case of seduction or premarital sex, not rape. 2.
And he's wrong.
The law was meant to protect women, not punish them. In ancient Near Eastern cultures, a woman who had lost her virginity outside of marriage would be ostracized and left without economic security. This law ensured that the man...
This one single law that we clearly saw was the opposite of that Josh just read.
Yep.
Wow.
Man took responsibility for his actions. He could never divorce her. That is, he couldn't use her for sex and then abandon her. The father could refuse the marriage if he deemed the man unworthy. Exodus 22:16, 17.
Yeah, but
this was a law designed to protect women in a patriarchal.
Pause it, because we have to go.
Univocal voice.
Yeah,
right.
Univocal.
Yeah. No, that's a different passage, my guy.
Yeah,
and even if you want to play that game, I mean, we could play it right back. Look at Exodus 21, 7 through 11.
Yes.
Right. Look at Deuteronomy 21, 10 to 14. In both cases, if the man says, "Nah, I don't really like her anymore," he just all he's got to do is. So that's exactly what happens, right? He just has to release her. He has to let her go.
That's
it.
So that's all he has to do.
it's just not the case.
No.
I hate
society.
Oh,
sorry. I just so that it's clear for everybody, because I feel like analogies are useful, and I'm so sorry. Like this feels so crass. This analogy that I'm getting ready to use, but this I think sort of captures the way that the text views this. If you drive a new car off the lot, it immediately loses its value. It doesn't mean you can't sell it anymore. It doesn't mean nobody's going to buy it, right? But it means that its value has immediately decreased. That's sort of the way that this is viewed. It's roughly analogous to that. It's not like what they want to say is that if you drive the car off the lot, it can't be sold again. Right? It's like licking a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, right? Once it's been licked, nobody can't sell it anymore.
Did
right?
you know there actually is
the stamp?
There is one single car that once you buy it, you can't resell it. And do you know what it is?
Oh, is that the Cybertruck?
Is that because they break as soon as you take them off the lot? Is that what it is?
Just letting you know, that's funny.
Hey,
I think that's funny.
did you just come up with that now, Josh? The car on the lot analogy, or have you been?
Yeah,
that's goddamn great. I really like that. That's.
I'm sorry, it sounds really crass.
But this stuff is crass.
Yeah,
guys.
Yeah,
it is.
It is.
Just like everything in the ancient Near East, like this, we're not singling out the biblical text here.
No,
like we just read. I mean, in Middle Assyrian Laws 855, it says if this happens, it's lex talionis, the guy's wife that
you can rape her.
You are to give her over to the other guy to be raped.
Yes.
Like it's lex talionis. So like it's not just the Bible. That's not the point. But stop trying to base your morality off this like slavish reading. Is that the way to say that? I think reading it slavishly. Yeah. Like stop trying to say, all right, what saith the scriptures? Now we just do that, right? And trying to make it work. Just stop doing that. I'll be quiet. Sorry.
I think we just got the one little bit here about Chazak. We might have missed it,
Okay.
and we can just
shut
it down. But
I mean, because we called it Chazak.
Yes,
Not press them.
All right.
Does this affect the reliability of the Bible?
Yeah, I think we missed
Skeptics
it.
like Ismail often argue.
Okay, whatever. Don't read the Bible historically. Just don't do that. You're not going to end up well. But also, don't base your law codes on maybe Iron Age morality. That would be a good start.
Let's drop the video, and maybe we should finish up thinking about this. The reliability of the Bible. Like, what the hell does that mean?
Yeah, the reliability of the Gilgamesh epic.
Right.
Or the reliability of the Middle Assyrian law code.
Yeah. That's deep, you know? But it's the same fucking question. This is what people, I think, miss. It's when you back into your data from your conclusion.
Yes.
That's what's happening here. You have a view of the text, and now you're going to apologize for the text, right? You're going to defend it. And the way that you do that is you say, well, it's got to be this, right?
Because you're starting from your conclusion.
Yep.
You got to get there somewhere. Somehow you've got to get there. So, you know, this video came out. It was this last week, Josh, from Daily Dose of Wisdom.
Yeah.
About Wes Huff and 1Q Isaiah A. The guy actually mentions my name in that video. But this reminds me of something there that is really bothersome to me and continues to be a driving force on why I'm here hanging out with you good people on a Friday night with my sadly nearly empty glass of wine. Sorry.
You're pre-Giffen.
In that video, in this video, the conclusion is drawn that unless you have taken this position of univocality, this position of inerrancy, this position of purity with regards to the message, the meaning, and the facts of the text, unless you're taking that position, you must somehow be doing something adversarial to the text. In that guy, his name's Brandon, Daily Dose of Wisdom. In the video he made last week, he said that he accused a number of us of attacking the Bible. That's what we're doing. We're attacking
Heavens no.
the Bible. Skeptics like to attack the Bible.
How will the text ever survive this?
You don't spend
Yeah.
like 15 fucking years of your life in school.
Yeah.
You don't spend, guys, when I did my PhD, I was in the UK part-time while my young family was at home. I didn't do that because I've got this strange vendetta against the Bible. Like I've got this built up animus or hatred towards the fucking text. That's not why I did that. That's not why Josh spent, my God, Josh, you spent how many years in your program at Johns Hopkins only to hear your dissertation supervisor tell you that first draft that you wrote was no good? Like, how long were you there when he ended your life?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Not a
that
lot
was
of people
6
know that
years in.
story.
And that's just the PhD, right? It took me 6 years. It took me 6 years just to get my first master's. So like this is, look, this is Gilgamesh, right? That's my favorite quote from Gilgamesh and Huwawa, right? I don't believe in the divinity of Gilgamesh.
You must hate the Epic of Gilgamesh. You're an adversary. You're an enemy of Gilgamesh.
Yeah.
I don't worship Enki.
You know what? I think that's just the Enlil in you hating the Enki in the text.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Guys.
That's right.
Friends.
Yo.
Viewers.
So ridiculous.
We don't hate the Bible.
Yep.
I fucking love the Bible, which is why I've been doing this for my entire adult life. You don't choose to do something for your entire adult life that you hate. Why is it so hard for people to figure this out?
Because their interpretation is part of their identity, and when you threaten the interpretation, you're threatening their identity. They take it personally and they get upset.
See, this is like if suddenly a sect, like a major sect, and then I'll have to go. But Kip, this is a really good point. Like if a major section of the United States population started believing that Asher was the one true God, right? Or Marduk was the one true God, and they were going to implement with an ethical system with the Middle Assyrian laws or the old Babylonian laws at their core, I would all of a sudden have to go from, like I have a big tattoo on my arm, a sleeve tattoo of Gilgamesh, right?
It's badass, you guys.
Almost like the carving behind you. It's super cool.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would have to then say, okay, guys, look, wrong way to go about this. The Epic of Gilgamesh is awesome, right? The Tukulti Ninurta epic is awesome. The Prayer to the Gods of the Night, awesome. But look, like, you're not supposed to do this with them, right? And so, okay, if you're going to do that, let me show you why you don't want to build your ethical system based on the Middle Assyrian laws, right? And that would not be me attacking the Middle Assyrian laws.
No.
It would be me attacking your interpretation of them, your misuse of them.
Yeah. Selah.
There's a burden here, guys. We want the world to understand and to love these texts as much as we do. That's why we're here. And in addition to that, we're here to correct the misinformation that leads to some pretty catastrophic results when you don't read the text properly. So, but listen, we've got there's one more super chat, and I think this is a good one to end on. Thank you very much, David, for the $10 super chat. I did my undergrad in math. This stream is how I feel about Super Smug, William Lane Craig, talking about how actual infinities can exist.
Can't exist.
Overconfidence unites all apologetics.
Very well said.
Yep. Agreed.
Let's drop the mic on that, shall we? What's going on, Josh?
I am finishing up volume 2. I'm working on the answer key for the additional exercises in Appendix 1 or Appendix A. So I'd say by the end of the weekend, volume 2 will be done in its draft form.
Nice.
So,
all I can say to that is that I hate you. But actually, really, Josh, really, Hamid, sorry, I'm sorry. I've had too much.
Lost in the sauce.
I am. So yes.
Hatikva.
So thank you.
I love you. I love you too.
I love you too, buddy.
It's gonna be the new thing.
It's the new thing.
Isn't the Hope the name of one of the Star Wars?
It's
A New Hope.
The New
A
Hope.
New
But
Hope.
You know what Hatikva is?
So be Hatikva Hadashah.
Yeah, that's right. Hatikva Hadashah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hatikva
Yeah, there you go.
is the name of the Israeli national anthem, according to my my good friend.
Mhm.
Yes. Thank you, Triceratops.
Which I also said at the beginning of the
Hatikva,
stream.
everyone.
But
You did? Oh, I missed that. See.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Josh, you and I are going to be back here tomorrow night.
That's right.
At close to, I think we're starting at 8:00 Eastern, though, aren't we? Tomorrow. I have to double check. But we're on. Where are we? We're not here.
where are you going to be?
Where are we?
Oh, we're with Justin at Deconstruction.
Yes, we're going to be on Deconstruction Zone, guys. Tomorrow night, hanging out with Justin and talking about a Wes Huff video, I think. And,
yeah, I think you're right.
Biblical slavery.
It would have been really great if we had a link, because then I could just drop it in the chat and people would just be able to go there and hit the notify me button. But
maybe Justin should be here.
Hold on, I can do this.
Help.
I think.
Oh, can you? Did I get a link? I didn't see it.
Marcos Amalo recibió su email or whatever your comment was. I got it. My contact info is on my YouTube page. But yeah.
Hey, it says we're live. That's pretty cool.
Oh my God. Love you all.
Simeon for $2. Love you all, favorite panelists
favorite.
in the sphere.
Aw, thank you, Claude Simeon. That's so kind.
Oh, there it
They
is.
are
Here it
good.
is.
They are good.
All right, you
panelists.
find it.
I did. Let me see.
Can you paste it in the
Share.
chat?
If he's a mod, then he can.
I think you are. If you're not, I don't know why not.
Oh, it says I have.
Yeah,
to
really.
connect.
Oh, you could stick it in the private chat, and then one of us.
And we can copy paste it.
And while you're doing that, Vadim Radchenko, thank you for the €5. Once of those days, could you please explain how biblical Hebrew numerated things, like how they counted or wrote their numbers? Yeah, we could do that. We don't have time now, but there we go. Thank you, Josh.
Everyone memorize it very quickly.
Or go back to, and we'll stick it in the video description too. We'll do that, and then I'll throw something up tomorrow at some point. So
I mean, Paul. I didn't want to say anything. Paul picked up on it. It's good. It's good. It's good.
We're very professional here. Also, Dim is clarifying, no, the numerals. I don't think they use Roman or Arab numerals. The letters are the numerals.
Yes.
So the first letter, Aleph, is also the number for 1, and so on and so forth. You go like 1 through 10, and then you go 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. And then there's other ways to get bigger numbers out of that and how to do other things. So
there you go. Thank you, Vishanti. And you and I are coming back in the afternoon. Tomorrow morning for us.
Tomorrow morning.
Because we live
Dapper
on the
Dinosaurs
best
channel.
coast. We're diving back in to Bodhi Hodge. Gonna read some more about first century Jewish historian Flavius Josephus and his best-selling work.
And how the Tower of Babel is definitely backed up by linguistics.
That's true. Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
So it's busy around here, guys. So I thank you. Maya also posted the Deconstruction Zone link. It's in the chat here. There it is. So yeah. And then I think on that note, thanks everyone once again for coming out, for hanging out with us on Friday night. And I think I speak for every one of us when I say Ha Tikva.